Dahoodpostman, back with Spike, back with Mike. Let's get it. Let's go, Spike. Coming back to where you left off, you talked about your program, right? Where you now invested 100%, right? Both you and Mike, right? Tell me about it.
Oh well, it began in prison. I was still very much active all of my prison life. Like I spent on level 4 yards my whole life. And but once I became non-violent at some point after assaulting another inmate with a weapon, and seeing that inmate come into the handset, patched up, and sort of made me look at things to where I came from these street wars with battling my rivals to entering the prison, having to join with my rivals to battle these people, and actually using knives to carry that out. Was I had to really look at myself. That wasn't who my mother raised. So it was at that point that I told myself I would work on conflict resolve and non-aggression agreements with individuals. So going to the parole board, I was denied, even though I had everything that I possibly could, and I was denied parole because I didn't have a showing to show what I was doing about my quote unquote gang addiction. So I went back and followed up on the CGA program and created that there as I worked on affiliates and offenders recovery program, which is my program, in which I took a lot of the things that the parole board did to me and put them into context, and then got into my own program, as well as facilitated the CGA right there at Calipatria, level 4 yard, 8 yard general population. And from there, I got in my own program, got my own certificates, and I put my PTA in, which is a petition to advance the hearing after 1 year. And by the grace of God, I won, even though I still proclaim my innocence.
Got it. One question to what you just said. What or who detached us from that father and mother? Because how old are you?
I'm 52 now.
And you're what?
I'm 56.
What detached us from that father and mother love that we grew up to make us turn into the individuals that we were? And I'm not going to call us beasts or anything like that, right? But I'm going to say that we had a rage and anger that we didn't get from our mothers and fathers.
Yeah, well, you don't get it from the parent. We don't get it, but because I had a mother and I had a father. My father was there. He wasn't in the household with us, but he was there. I didn't want for nothing. But it was the streets. Like nobody couldn't teach me what I needed in the streets to save myself, to protect myself. Like I couldn't call my daddy when they jumped on me at Horseman, and chased me home. Like I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? So I think us getting out into the streets and not having these, no outlets for our parents to move us out of the situation. We had to adapt to the situation, and in all these communities, you just adapt to the community that you in, and you start banging and representing that community right there to the point to where you're ready to kill for it.
Do you think that could have been misleading? You said you couldn't call your father, but you really didn't know that, did you?
Yeah, I really did. You really didn't know that. Like, he wasn't in the household. My dad, your dad wants you to be tough. What you mean? Your dad wants you to, fuck you mean? You calling me? You better go fight back. What are you talking about? That, So like only thing I got was stern words from my dad with regards to, this life. You make your bed hard, you better sleep in it. Mother put their hands on you, better put your hands on.
And I can relate that, but I also know that if we were able to articulate it better to our father and made him understand what was behind that one individual or that two individuals, then he would the assessment would have been different.
Well, I would have to differ because my father owned a car lot over in the rolling 60s, and I used to get in trouble. At that time, I had a Cadillac coupe that was hooked up. So when I get in trouble at home, my mother called my father. My father, like, get your ass up here to detail these cars, right? Dad, I'm not supposed to be over. Fuck that mean, right? Get over here, right? So I'm over there. This is right across the street from the motel.
You detailing cars and watching at the same time.
And my car is parked right there. That's widely known in the A trades. But what saved me is I have a cousin, Keith, from Roller 60s. May he rest in peace.
Keystone?
No, I believe he was a cow. So he pull up. When he pull up, he come to see my daddy. But when he see the car, so Keith like, who car is this? Oh, that Kufan car here in the back. Yeah. So he come back there and he like, what's up, Kufan? Like, I ain't seen him since I was 9 years old, him and my cousin Brian. So he like, what's up with that? You know, I got my T-hat on now, you know, so because I'm in the office now, so I can put my shit on right there. So, you know, he come in like, man, you bang. I'm like, yeah, I'm from Detached Gangsta. You know, he like, man, you're not supposed to be over here. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to tell my daddy. Yeah. So I think that's the first time that my daddy got an understanding of how serious thing was, is because my cousin went and told him, like, look, don't have him over here, let him go. And let me get in my car and watch me get on.
And to my point, now that he had more information, he was better to ascertain the circumstance and look at it for what he really needs to see it as versus what he believed you should be or not
right,
be.
Right. So I never had to do that again. And but at the same time, you know, I ended up getting shot up after that. So he had to come back. So now he's trying to make arrangements for me to come live with him or take me to Texas and all of that stuff. But you know,
I used to trip. Why did our moms and dads want to send us out of town?
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I just, you know, that was just unacceptable.
Isn't that how the hoods got started out of town when they sent us away?
Right. You know, so, you know, but your dad can have a big influence on you, you know, because my dad did have a big influence on me because he always took care of his business. You know, he had his own shit. He had his own spot. He had his own everything. He had his own businesses. He was, you know, he was part of the community, even though he was a big time hustler. Right. He never put that in my face. Right. You feel me? So, absolutely. You know, that your dad, you know, plays a major role in a lot of that we don't have here. So we turn to the big homies and shit, you know, and it's just, I was just fortunate enough to come across big homies who actually invested in me with regards to telling me real shit.
Got it. So Mike, the same question to you.
Yeah, for me, I would say that one of the major things is communication, what you was getting at. Communication was key because I didn't have good communication with my parents. This is why they didn't understand what we was going through. And miseducation, that's another thing, miseducation. Because if you remember, I saw the gang as something that was powerful. So the miseducation come in that you kind of like being taught that you're inferior when you're growing up. Right. Because you don't have no heroes or nothing. So you want power. And the only power you see is in your community, which is these young thugs, or I ain't gonna say young thug, but which is these thugs coming up. And you wanna, you know, be like them. So that was one of the major reasons that I believe I went toward the gang was miseducation and communication, a lack of communication with my parents. Like Coupon said, it's a lot of things that I felt that I couldn't tell my parents. When I started going to Breda, I wasn't a gang member, but I started getting chased home from school just based on the area I grew up in. Mm-hmm. I'm getting chased home from school, so I don't believe that I can tell my parents this. So when I'm getting chased home from school, I'm losing my notebook, I'm losing all kinds of stuff, so I can't even do my homework no more. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I can't tell my parents that, well, I feel I can't tell my parents this, and my parents, they're just telling me, get good grades, do this, do that. They're just dictating to me. Right. They're not talking to me. They're not communicating with me. They're not reassuring me that if I tell them everything that's going on, not only that they will believe me, but also they won't judge me. Because that's a major part in that. You know, so this is what led me to the gang. Like Coupon was saying, the older homies that I began to encounter, they were more accepting, they were more listening, they were more encouraging, they were more what I wasn't getting from my parents.
Right, and you know, and
you are so right. Let me add to you are so right because I'm 64, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? The same thing that was happening over here was happening in Compton.
Oh yeah, no.
I went to school. I'm at school, enjoying school, going to class because I was kind of smart. I knew what to do, right?
Absolutely.
Now I got these guys saying, hey, you ride the bus.
Yeah.
You must be a Crip.
Yeah.
Like, Crip? I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, what is that? You know, because this is like 71, 72, right? It wasn't until I went to the park and started seeing Big Tookie and Monkey Man, and then my homeboy Ducc and Robert Thomas and Gary Miller and all these cats hanging in the park, grouping up, where I made the correlation and I was able to put it together at that point, like you guys.
Get that spider off the top of your shirt. Just flip your shirt like that. There you go. Yeah, do like that. Yeah, it probably fell off the back by now. You feel it? It might got off. There you go.
So at that point, I was able to put it together, you know, and like you guys, I saw the power. I needed that power just to go to school.
Right.
You understand?
So essentially, it's a right. It was like a rite of passage for all these black communities, you know, for you to be able to just for your own community, like whether you was from your community or not, you know, the fact that you entering into this other foreign land because we done made all these demographic areas and stuff, right? So you know, you a foreign coming over there, like where you from? You know, well, where you stay at? Then that's always the follow up. So it's like, you know.
Right, and that's not even discussing all the insecurities that you have because of your socioeconomic situation. As far as you can't afford this, you can't afford that, you're getting bagged on when you're going to school. So you confused, you angry, you upset, and you don't know how to deal with that.
Lock the door.